In today's tutorial, hey, hope you are doing well today and welcome to my art channel. But before we start, if you like this video or you learned something new, please like, and for more videos, subscribe with notifications. The first color that I'm using for the base layer is the burnt ochre, which I use very lightly. In order to have more control over the amount of pressure I'm using, I hold my pencil further back. One of the advantages of using light layers is that I can correct the mistakes much easier at the earliest stages. It's important to remember you can always add more, but it's harder to take away. So if I use less pressure and take more time to build up layers, I have more control on my drawing, allowing me to create accuracy with the shades I'm trying to achieve. Next, I go ahead with Van Dyke Brown. I continue to add very light gradual layers again, but I ensure that I use slightly more pressure in the shadow areas. I gently apply less pressure as I move towards the lighter areas, creating gradient between the tones. In this part of the drawing, I'm using light flesh for the base layer very lightly. I make sure that I'm continuously reflecting back to the reference photo and looking at where I need to add cadmium yellow or cinnamon in order to achieve a high level of similarity between my artwork and the reference photo. It's important to remember not to rely on just one application of color. Instead, building up many lighter individual layers helps to create depth to the drawing, making it appear much smoother and realistic. Next, I apply very light layers of Van Dyke Brown only on the shadowed areas and burnt ochre to create a smooth transition between the two colors. I continue to add multiple light layers so that all of the pigment eventually builds up and merges together, allowing me to create the level of realism I'm hoping to achieve. Also keep checking back with me for more tips on how to master drawing hyper-realistic facial features or portraits with new videos every week. So the first thing that I'm doing again is I'm using burnt ochre very lightly to get a base layer. An important thing to remember is that I start from the shadowed areas which are closed towards the crease of the upper eyelid. As I said many times, I always make sure that my pencil is fully sharpened to help with creating smooth transition tones. This way you don't need to add as much pressure. Then I go in with Van Dyke Brown the same way I did for the previous base layer. But I make sure to add more layers with slightly more pressure in the darker shadow areas. Then I gently apply less pressure as I come to the lighter areas. Now I go back in with burnt ochre very lightly all over the area that I'm working on. I'm now adding a few light layers of Van Dyke Brown. In order to create a smooth transition, I apply less pressure when layering across to the lighter areas. Next, I apply a few light layers of cinnamon with slightly more pressure over the whole area. Then I add more layers of Van Dyke Brown on the shadowed areas. As always, I get the base layer very lightly, and for this, I'm using cinnamon. To create the base layer of an area, I usually use the same pressure over the whole area. Next, I go back in with cinnamon again to add more layers. I do this by using both circular motions and lines, and I don't restrict myself to just one of these techniques. Now I'm using many light layers on top of each other, and over time, these multiple layers help to combine and blend together and create a solid thick layer, helping to give the smooth realistic look that I'm trying to achieve. For this area, I'm using cinnamon for the base layer, and once I finish the base layer, I go in with burnt ochre. Also, as I said earlier, I use more layers and a bit more pressure on the shadowed areas, and gently apply less pressure as I come to the lighter areas. I continue building up layers to blend these colors together. Also on my channel I have in-depth tutorials on how I create hyperrealistic facial features and portraits in colored pencil. So if you want more details about how I create my skin tones, then feel free to click that subscribe button if you haven't already, and be completely sure to join me every week for a new video. Also, the colors mentioned will be listed in the description. So that's it for this tutorial, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up and let me know what your thoughts are. Also subscribe if you're new around here for more tutorials like this. I'll see you in the next episode. Goodbye.